All of time and space. Everywhere and anywhere, every star that ever was. Where do you want to start?
And then, whoa, there's a bloody great Cyberman rearing up at you. I wouldn't like that at all. But that's a bit of a spoiler. We're here to talk about the invasion. Hang on, Mark, look. Wait, seriously, when was this broadcast? 1969. I think we can do spoilers now. Surely we... Whatever. I'm Ian.
And I'm Mark. Yes, I suppose we can do spoilers now. We have a really fantastic guest for this one. It's our old mate Harry. But before we hear from him, let's get the lowdown on where we are in the story so far. Materialising in outer space, the TARDIS is attacked by a missile fired from the dark side of the moon. Back on Earth, the newly formed United Nations Intelligence Task Force, led by Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, is disturbed by a series of UFO sightings over southern England. Meanwhile, a large consignment of mysterious crates is delivered to the headquarters of International Electromatics, the largest computer and electronics firm in the world. 3 seemingly unconnected events, but in reality, the preparations for a massive Cyberman invasion of Earth with one aim: the total annihilation of the human race. And we'll be back after this.
There don't seem to be any Cybermen about at all, that's odd.
Well, let's not waste time then.
Bazooka!
You right, Doctor?
What? Yes, it's there, in that building. The radio transmitter control. You've got to destroy it.
Leave it to us. Forward!
And welcome back. And joining us for the second time is our old friend Harry Whitley. Hello, Harry.
Hello, Mark. Hello, Ian. How art thou?
Hello, Harry.
How lovely to have you back.
I think we're both good, mate. How are you?
I'm very well. Very well.
Everything going well in your kitchen?
Everything, yes. That's enough that needs to be said about that subject, Ian. Thank you very much. But
okay.
If
We've
you'd
got
like
time to kill.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Hop onto Harry's Instagram. I'm sure there's a whole plethora of videos and images that you can enjoy.
Yeah.
Did you have to, like, when you're fitting the hob, do you have to cut out a hole for the heating, or is it?
Oh, Jesus!
You do.
Tell us about that.
It's a pain. That's about as much as I can tell you. So, if any of your dear listeners out there in podcast land are deciding to fit their own kitchen, don't. Just pay the people to do it themselves.
But you've got all the tools. You love collecting all that stuff, don't you?
I love a tool, I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
But as for using them, using tools in the... we're getting a bit...
In the appropriate manner. Yes.
Gripping it tightly in your hands.
That's the one. And
applying it to surfaces.
Yes, applying it to surfaces. Or use.
Doing a nice bit of chamfering.
Yes, exactly. It's just not as easy as you're led to believe it will be. So
I always assumed it was quite difficult, so that's why I've never tried it myself.
I mean, when we bought the kitchen, I sort of this is a Doctor Who podcast, isn't it?
Welcome to all of kitchens and sinks.
It's when we bought the kitchen. it just sort of... I couldn't believe how expensive kitchens are anyway, because it's just a wardrobe, but lower down, with a bit on the top, and a mini bath. So where does that money come from? Like, I don't understand what it is. And they sell you this lie. And another thing, whilst we're on it, they sell you the lie of sort of bespoke kitchens and made to measure, blah 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 blah. Nobody in Wren's kitchens can use a tape measure because they came out 4 times to measure that kitchen. I hope you're listening, Wren's. So 4 times they came.
This episode was brought to you by Wren's Kitchen.
Wren's Kitchens.
Always 3 inches short.
Exactly.
Story of your life, Harry.
Well, it's So, yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure our loyal listeners are thrilled to be listening to this cavalcade of kitchen carpentry.
Anybody still there?
Iain.
Hello. Do you think we should do him?
Yeah, let's turn up the pressure a notch.
Again?
All right, Harry. Once again, it's you. Well, I'll start that again. That was rubbish. Harry, once again, it is time for you to face the Mind Probe.
Oh no, not the Mind Probe.
You are authorized to use the Mind Probe.
What? No, not the mind probe.
Yes, it's the
Yes.
Mind Probe. It's a series of piss-poor questions designed to kill 5 minutes at the top of each show.
Should we start the timer now?
There's very little jeopardy involved. If you get them right, you don't win anything, and if you don't get them right, we'll probably still have you back.
Yeah.
So,
there you go.
Yeah.
you know,
Solid.
Yeah.
don't even worry about it. If you don't know the answer, don't even bother to think.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8 questions, because we're dealing with an 8-part story this time.
Good God.
So if you're ready, I shall begin.
Born ready.
Okay. Question 1. When fitting a kitchen, what? Oh no, hang on. Wrong page.
Oh, whoopsie.
Question 1. What was the first story in New Who to feature the word invasion in the title?
Now, you'd assume one would assume I would know this answer, and I don't. I'm gonna have to take one for the Tool team. I don't know.
It's like I'm going to have like a sort of hangman here, where I've got a drawing of a fitted kitchen, and every time you don't get an answer, one of the cupboards falls over.
By the time I get to the boiler housing, you'll...
Oh lordy. The correct answer, not that you gave us a wrong answer because you couldn't be bothered, was the Christmas Invasion.
Oh, of course.
Which first featured that Derrick Tennant.
The invasion
Question
of Christmas.
2. Yes. Question 2. What year did we first get to watch The Zygon Invasion?
2012.
Well, he was in the right century.
Yeah.
Yes. But not in the right year, which was 2015.
Oh well.
Oh, Harry, it's going very badly so far.
the
I can
time
already
lash for
hear
you,
the
my
tinsel
boy.
brushing against my brain.
Yeah, Mark's getting the Swarfiga ready. Question 3. Which invasion happened in the village of Devesham?
Oh, is that the android invasion?
It
Oh, he's got
certainly
it.
is.
Oh, yes.
He's got one, he's off the mark.
Back of the net.
Football!
Football.
Jurassic Park.
Question 4. Name 2 invasions which featured Milton Johns.
Oh, The Invasion and Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
So,
Sadly wrong.
yeah, what I've got written down here is the Android Invasion and the
Correct.
Invasion of Time.
Oh,
Correct.
There you go.
Actually, what I'd written down was the Invasion of Tim, but that's just my
Tim's
handwriting.
Invasion.
That's a very different video.
I've seen that.
Quite good. Yeah, quite good. Quite good. Question 5. Who played the Sontaran Storr in The Invasion of Time?
Pass.
That was Derrick Deadman.
It was Derrick Deadman.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yes. Question 6. Which Doctor featured in Gary Russell's 1995 missing adventure book, Invasion of the Cat People?
Mark's got his hand up. Mark will answer it. He can have a point. Oh, 4. 4 man.
It was the second Doctor.
Oh, I thought that was a non-broadcast Fourth Doctor story.
Well, the novel of it has got Patrick Troughton on the front cover, which
Bloody
was
Gary Russell. He's got a lot to answer for, hasn't he? That
is
chap.
the only well, yes,
dear.
he has.
Oh, we're doing well, aren't we?
Now you'll like this question, Harry. Question 7. Which Big Finish audio adventure featured Orson Welles as a character?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
Mark does.
That's the one with Simon Pegg in it, isn't it?
Yep.
It's the Venice something? Venice? Stones of Venice?
Invaders from Mars.
Similar.
Fortunately, because it was about Big Finish, that question isn't actually canon.
Oh, right.
So it doesn't. You don't lose a point.
No problem.
It's not important. Finally,
Well,
it's all to play for.
Yep.
If you get this one right, you'll have got 2 questions right. So,
Absolutely storming it, Harry.
thank you.
Yeah.
Which actor
Yes.
from The Invasion
Yes.
also appeared
Yes.
in The Saint,
Yes.
in Danger Man,
Yes.
The Prisoner,
Yes.
Doomwatch,
Yes.
The Tomorrow People,
Yes.
Space 1999,
Yes.
Blake 7,
Yes.
and a very highly rated episode of Inspector Morse?
Yes. It's Vaughan Man.
I was going to suggest Patrick Troughton, but
That's what I was going to go with as well. I just thought it'd be funny. You see.
So,
So I'm going to say Vaughan Man.
Vaughan Man.
Yes.
Vaughan Williams.
Vaughan Williams.
It was the actor Kevin Stoney.
Correct.
You got 2 questions right. That's 25%. Or another way of looking at it would be dismal failure.
Yes. That's fine.
That's
Mark
Mark.
is.
Good.
That's Matt Barber levels of dismal. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
Mark.
It's just,
Are you ready, Mark, for what's going to have to happen at the end of the episode?
Yeah, I've already fired up the time lash.
I'm fully prepared.
Yeah.
I've got the.
Did you get
trousers
that
on.
new gas? Did you get that new propane canister for the time lash?
Yes. It's
Excellent.
all,
So
all
it'll
ready
be-
to go.
I bet that
It'll
wasn't
be
cheap
nice and
to fill
hot.
up.
No,
I
certainly
mean,
wasn't.
pre-COVID, for a big one, you're talking, I think, £40 for a refill.
Yeah. Luckily, I've got a special deal with a Macra, so get on the gas for a discount price.
You've got to see a cat man in a stupid floating taxi.
How did you know? Anyway, enough of that tomfoolery.
That was very enjoyable. Thank you, Ian.
I'm glad you. I
Yes,
can tell you've got
yes.
your enjoyment
Yes.
face on right now. Yes.
So, it strikes me, this story, you could argue it's overly long. Directed by Douglas Camfield.
You could argue that. Yeah.
Yeah, with a guest star playing a rather psychotic nut job, played by Kevin Stoney.
Yes.
And he's teamed up with a bunch of ne'er-do-well aliens that are going to do him over.
I see where you're going with this.
This all sounds very familiar.
It does sound a lot like Fear Her, doesn't it? I mean, no.
Yes, the invasion. Harold,
Mark,
you are a collector of videotapes, aren't you?
I am.
You still collect them, or you've got the full collection? Because I know not that long ago you got yourself a little combi TV so you could do the old school experience.
I did. I had all of the videos from childhood, child-hood, that is.
Yeah.
And I obviously, when I moved out, I took them all with me, but by that point my video player was defunct, so I went all the way to Trausvonydd to find a video combi that was exactly the same as the one when I was a wee nipper, and there was somebody that was selling one, so I gave him, half a bag of pork scratchings and some leaves, and I brought it home, and it lives to my right. I am pointing in this audio medium. It lives there, and
in your studio.
Yeah, so now I can sit back and enjoy the heady days of watching things in blur, and yes, so yeah, it's it was pleasurable watching Nicholas Courtney in a massive room speak briefly about missing episodes.
Of course, you don't have the animation on the VHS.
No, we don't.
No.
We just have Nicholas Courtney.
So
saying,
is it very much like the one of the many versions of Sharda where Tom Baker's just
in a dark
chatting
room
to the camera, filling in the gaps? Yeah.
Yes.
Sharda.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I have got the DVD.
Yes.
But obviously that's too newfangled for me.
Yes.
But
all right, let's not even talk about those damned nonsense Blu-ray collections.
He's just that dodgy man down the road. Yeah, but I really like the animation, but I watched the video for this particular event.
Mr. Iain Martin.
Well, hello.
Hi.
How
Sorry
are you?
to disturb your your slumber there.
I just popped out to put dinner on. I was just peeling a carrot.
Oh.
But how can I help you?
How did you experience this fine story? Was it? Did you get it on the old BritBox, or?
Do you mean today itself?
Today itself, yes.
I did get it on the BritBox.
Yes.
With the I'm struggling to remember. There must have been 2 animated episodes, but I don't remember them. Yeah. They didn't seem to be like egregiously weird animations because no one had like the massive arms.
Yeah, really good.
Arms like drink pipes.
Yes, so they must have been very good animations this time.
So it was quite a novelty, wasn't it, at the time that the DVD came out? It was a whole new way to experience the stories, and it seemed like a new dawn for the missing episodes.
Well, this is the first of the animated ones as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I always think there's more of it missing for some reason as well whenever I rewatch it, because it's one that I do go back to quite often, and I always assume that there's like 2 episodes of it that we can see, and the rest of it is just sort of vaguely Troughton-like drawings.
The rest of it is like Danger Mouse, but Jamie here.
Oh, why?
It does feel like a very different kind of show, doesn't it? Even compared to the other couple of stories we've covered already in season 6, it feels like there's been a quite an abrupt change of direction, and we're going into sort of 60s spy-fi thriller territory.
It does.
Yes, it does.
You would be correct in that assumption.
Do we like this change of direction?
Iain.
Well, so I don't know if this is the truth or if it's just kind of fan retconned received wisdom, but isn't this basically the pilot for season 7?
Yes, yeah, I think you're not far off there, yeah.
Yes, and as such, it is a very nice and very welcome change of kind of direction and change of emphasis, and it pushes the show into a more kind of credible and robust structure, whereas some of what we've had recently has been naught but whimsy.
Good God.
I think there's room for all of those things. As much as I enjoy the invasion, and I do, Sorry, that's kind of spoiled the end of the episode.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a 10.
Next week, the Crotons.
I'm not sure I would want to watch it every week, because for me it works so well because it is so different from what we've had before.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Harold, this is a bit of a personal fave of yours, I believe.
Yeah, I'd say so. I would say so.
What is it about this story in particular that you love so much?
There's quite a few things. I think, for the most part, everybody's great in it. It's a really strong cast for the most part. There was a slight whimper from Iain's.
Iain's screwing up his face there. You think of any particular corporals in particular?
I think we'll listen to Harry's case for the defence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
And then I'll raise such points and call such witnesses as I feel are necessary.
As you were. So I think, for the most part, it's very well acted. I understand that Packer is somewhat of a damp squib, you may say, in the acting front of this. But I think it sort of works. I think let's get the Packer out of the room. He's not very good. But having said that, when you think about it, this is just Amazon, isn't it? But in the 60s. This is prototype Amazon. And if you went up to Amazon's sort of delivery office and you met head of security, I think you'd probably feel pretty confident about overrunning the place, because they're hardly going to be sort of SAS, are they? And
do Amazon security have firearms?
I would have thought so.
Yeah,
Yes,
probably. Yeah.
I've worked with Amazon, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if they were killers to a man.
Well, yeah. I think so. I think it's 50-50, because like on one hand it's like that's probably quite realistic, because he's just a security in a factory. Like what are they going to be up against? Sort of just delivery drivers saying, "Am I all right to go to bay 24?" Like, no, you'll wait there. Wait for this lorry to reverse, then you go through. And then they burst through the gate and they go, "Oh no, wait! What are you?" That's about it. So when it's an alien invasion, those stakes are very different to the day-to-day handlings of sort of, "I've got a delivery for the kitchen. Which way's the So
I was going to say that rather than Amazon, a better analogy might be Apple, because they're an electronics company.
Yeah.
They make stuff that's popular all around the world. They are British, so it's going to be a bit shit.
Yeah.
See, and this is why you do this.
Yeah.
See?
Yes, it is.
You're just so quick. That's what.
Packer may not necessarily be the best portrayed character, but I think it is such a memorable duo, those two, that I don't think it would work the same without him.
I got 2 words for you. Milton Johns. Now, if you want a henchman,
wouldn't he?
He'd be fantastic, because he's brilliant in everything.
I mean, I love Milton Johns, but he's not very intimidating, is he?
Well, compared to Chris Packer that we've got in this one, I mean,
from the Really Wild show.
Yeah.
Here's a fun fact about Chris Packham. He came to my school, Chris Packham, to do a talk about owls, and he was a dick.
Oh. Yeah. Oh dear.
What sort of dick was he like? Did he have a big rider? Did he?
He was just
try and
aloof. Like he just. He was doing it for the Reddies. He was doing it. It was just a cash grab.
Oh. Okay.
So
if the lawyers of Mr. Packham are listening, these are the views of Harold Whitley.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
And not of All of Time and Space. Okay.
I remember it well.
Kevin Stoney, though, what a bloody legend.
That's great. He's great.
He is. It's different enough from Mavic Chen. I mean, there are similarities there. Magic Chen, yes. Mavic Chen seems like a bit more of a cartoony nut job type of person, whereas in this one, Vaughn seems borderline psychotic. When he really loses it, it gets a bit scary, even for kids' TVs. He's not taking any shit from anyone, especially
I'll tell you what, when he's losing his temper and banging the table and looking a bit mad, I'm getting Boris Johnson vibes.
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of like, I will not hear the word no. You will do what I say. I'm not all over the details, perhaps the way I should be, but bloody well, you're going to make it happen.
I wonder if he's got a daughter that he's appointed to sort of be... sort of an unknown daughter, sorry. Oh, no, actually, just somebody that he's...
Yeah.
No, I think it's probably a bit unfair to Tobias Vaughan, because I think he probably has got some sort of moral compass there.
Yeah, it was stapled to the wall in episode 6.
All together now.
There were some unusual design choices in this story. Yes, the very slowly rotating
Come
wall.
on!
Well, it managed to pad
We've
each
got
episode out by another
episodes
30
to fill,
seconds.
haven't we?
Yeah.
So at 10 minutes of the door opening, that's helping things along, isn't it?
And really unevenly.
Behind it, we have the world's most sophisticated soda stream.
It's great.
It's marvellous, isn't it?
I love that sort of shit.
Yeah.
What I loved about, and there was a lot I liked about that machine, actually. It made a really nice noise that I think if you could just get a small clip of the sound of it and play it on a loop, that's going to be better for you than whale music or, pan pipes.
Alexa,
that's just like,
play Cyber Planner noises.
Yeah. And in the I'm remembering now, in the animated episode, the first time you see it, it's got these kind of 2 ear bits that look a bit Cyberman-y, whereas the actual one in the studio doesn't. So the animators have cut. I don't know if they were trying to be a bit sneaky and go, hey, what?
Nudge, wink, wink. I just didn't watch it.
Or, yeah, probably could be that.
I just assumed it was a tribute to Metal Mickey.
Was he the one who used to go boogity, boogity, boogity?
No.
Because my wife tells me off when I do that.
Wasn't that Tweaky from Buck Rogers in the 25th century?
Possibly. They probably both had good reason.
Yeah. I mean,
Altogether now.
very interchangeable. Yeah.
Boogity, boogity.
Come on, man, it's your turn. And now you, listener.
Yes, moving on.
Packer.
Unit. We got Unit.
Yeah.
We got a big old unit.
Right.
Yeah. And not only that, they've got a super cool aircraft for a base.
Yeah. All they need now is a massive tower block with a helipad in the middle of London.
Yeah.
For the top secret operations.
Yeah. With a massive symbol emblazoned
Mummy,
across the side.
Who works there? That's top secret unit, darling.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's great that they've got a plane.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Great.
Yes, they've got a lot of money. They've got a huge laboratory, control room, lots of tech. They've got
Land Rovers.
The Brigadier
Jeeps.
keeps wanging on about his chopper every 5 minutes.
Jimmy's
They've got all
chopper.
kinds of resources.
He's not afraid to get his chopper out, is he?
He's not. He uses it, at the drop of a hat.
It's even got
Any
appendages that he can install.
Any excuse, he just whips it out. And
but this is not the way Unit is going to remain, is it? Because they end up sort of, working out of some kind of retired country home or something, and their resources dwindle until there's only like a few officers,
2 of them.
A
skeleton crew.
But and one of them.
And we've not really got the full bevy of the Unit family yet. This is very much proto-Unit.
Well, you've got Benton, so certainly John Levine would say that that's all you need.
Yes.
For this to be kind of the Unit story.
Yes.
Are we fan of Jimmy Turner as opposed to Mike Yates?
Was he the one with the incredibly posh voice?
Isabel, Zoe, where are you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Isabel,
I went to public
Jimmy,
school.
Are you there?
Are you?
Yeah. I just want a bit more, earthiness
Bit of
from
grit.
my
Get your
squaddies.
Uzi
I
out
want
for the
grit.
lads.
Yeah. I don't want
yeah.
this bunch of old Etonians knocking around the place.
So you want that butch bit of rough John Franklin?
Mike Yates.
Yes. If anything says
Yes.
Butch Army Man, it's
Yes.
Michael Yates.
Yes, I want Mike Yates.
Yes.
Okay,
or I'm out of here.
That's going to be my new ringtone.
I want Michael Yates, and I want him now. Drenched in Swarfiga.
Leave the girl, it's my
No,
kids, I want.
Harry. He passed the mind probe.
Oh, dear.
Okay.
But yes, it was great to have this kind of first unit story, meet unit. The idea of unit I always liked.
Yeah.
And the Brigadier says this is 4 years after the Yeti.
Yeah.
So, and what year did that? That was like 66. So this would be set in the 70s. I'm just straight away. I'm having
unit
trouble dating.
Yeah.
So
let's not focus on that, because otherwise we'll just disappear down a rabbit
Everybody
hole.
will just go mad
Oh, no.
online.
Oh no!
You're right, Ian.
But I like the way they get introduced at the start. It's quite they're quite mysterious, aren't they? Obviously, with the hindsight of knowing who they are, you've got Benton and t'other guy driving around in a
Jag.
Jag.
Yeah. See, I had forgotten because episode 1 of this multi-part story was so long ago now that I really, I just, I was a child. There was puberty. There was an exam. There was getting a job. So part 1, they're just driving around very slowly, and they are clearly, you're meant
casing
to
the joint.
You're meant to think they're like evil. Certainly, the sort of mullet thing that Benton's got going on.
Yeah, he's got some full-on sideburns as well.
I think you're supposed to have like a short back and sides if you're in the army, isn't that kind of
that's
the rule?
That's part of their cover, though, isn't it?
Oh, you think it was like a disguise mullet?
Well, no, it's more.
Do you think
a
it was
case
a
of,
false mullet?
No, I think it's more a case of if he goes around with a short back and sides, everyone's going to look at him and think, could be military. Whereas
I'm liking my theory now. I'm thinking they've got a big props bag in the office, and the Brigadier's in there putting this false moustache on for no reason.
The budget ran out with the moustache, didn't it?
Yeah, and Benton's just got this kind of 6 inches of fur that goes around the back of his hairline just to look a bit shit. Just so that no one knows he's the brilliant actor John Levine.
Maybe. I guess we'll never know. Well, he's still alive, but maybe we'll just never know.
And we were due to have another adventure with our friends from the Web of Fear, but sadly they weren't available.
Oh no!
Professor Travers and Anne Travers, they possibly down to the fact that the production team have fallen out with the writers of the Web of Fear, and they no longer could use those characters, although they get mentioned, which seems a bit weird to me.
I don't know how that works, because surely if you have to pay...
No.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I don't know whether that works, like, if they say, the Daleks, do they have to pay the estate of nation?
I don't know. So instead, we get Professor Kettlewell and his
You're an evil
very
man,
attractive
Vaughn.
niece.
That was it. Just in case anybody didn't know. That wasn't anybody that just walked in.
I thought you were doing your Isabel.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yes, and the very lovely Isabel. Thoughts, Ian?
She's feisty and full of spunk.
Okay. That's the trailer sorted.
Is that staying in? Or?
Yeah, that'll be going in the trailer. Yes, that's good. And she's much prettier than a computer.
Yeah, can we keep her?
Oh my god!
So this
come
business,
on, it's like...
particularly in the first couple of episodes, where every time the Doctor or Zoe are confronted with a computer, they just lose their absolute shit and go, "Oh, you stupid machine! Oh, computers are stupid." They just look really foolish, especially as they're both from the far future and they're both incredibly technologically advanced people who use computers all the time. I imagine if you're in the TARDIS and you want to flush the toilet, you've got to interact with a computer of some level. So I really found that jarring that they just couldn't bear computers.
I mean, it does seem like an odd choice. Like, why would you even bother writing that in? Like, what does it...
Right.
It doesn't do anything.
I think that was a little bit of Sherwin creeping out. Feisty and full of spunk.
He said it, and he'll say it again.
Yes. He's getting the tattoo next week.
On his back. What's that on your back, Iain? Feisty and what?
It's like the end of JFK, isn't it?
Oh,
Feisty
dear.
and full of spunk. Feisty and full of spunk. Anyway.
The Zapruder spunk.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Would that have killed him?
Do we think this sustains its story over the 8 episodes? Did you find your mind wandering at any point, or were you happily just involved in the story?
I'm always happy to watch the whole thing. I'd say.
Did you do it in a oneer?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
One hit.
Okay, that's commitment,
Yeah.
right?
Take one for the team. Get out, get in, get out, like the SAS.
Yeah.
Let's get this done. I think at most it's probably 1 episode too long, because I think the setup of the first 4 episodes. What is this? 7 or 8? 8.
8. Yeah.
The first 4 episodes are great, because I don't think you really get any indication that it is Cybermen. I think maybe the Cyber Planner might give it away, because it's quite similar to the Wheel in Space one, but not exact. So I think you might sort of...
They drop a few hints, don't they, to sort of give you an inkling of who it might be.
Yeah, but...
if you're paying attention.
Well, exactly. But I think, the first 4 set up nicely, and then the last 4, I think they work really well as well. But I think, at most it's probably 1 episode too long. I think if you got rid of... if it was a 7-parter, it'd probably be a lot more snappy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe ditch a lot of the computer shenanigans and just...
And there's a lot of going back and forth between
it.
offices that look exactly the same.
I found it slightly strange, the sort of video phone setup they had. Because at one point he's talking to Packer, and I thought Packer was just kneeling down and talking through a little window in the middle of the...
Let me in, Mr. Vaughan.
I thought, this is... I don't know where this is going now, but...
like a head in a jar, like Futurama.
I'd love it if that was
Full of
true.
spunk,
Yeah.
but,
If in the months leading up to the launch of the the IE phone version 1, where he knows that screen will work one day, but before then, people just have to come up and press his face up against the glass. Hello. I want to make a completely different point, but I'm aware you've asked about the pacing, so I'm going to address that.
No, you go on.
For me, it felt not exactly like 2 4-part stories, but it felt like the first 4 episodes dealt with one thing, and the next 4 dealt with something else. It so happened that it was one continuous story, but I don't think at any point it outstayed its welcome, or it flagged, or it dragged. I think it was really well done. Yeah,
I would agree. What was the other point that you wanted to bring up?
So, right, you're in league with the Cybermen, right? You're a very naughty man.
Yes.
You're plotting the destruction of the human race. You're basically a Bond villain.
You want to take control, don't you?
Sure, you're basically a Bond villain. You need an impregnable fortress, which can be reached by trains,
Here we go.
helicopters, and a canoe.
There's more ways into that office block than...
I mean, he might as well have been on a roundabout outside the town centre. Jesus. How should we break in this episode, Doctor? Oh, I thought we could disguise ourselves as a shrub. I mean, it's laughable.
And why do they call the trains vans? They call a lorry. What do they call it? They call it something. You know, when they see Isabel's feather boa put inside the coffin, and then they want to check the coffin to see if that Zoe is in there. They say, they've been loaded onto the lorry, or the lorry. They say something like, they don't say train, and they keep talking about this train as it's they don't use the word train. It's like The Walking Dead never say zombie. Just say what it is. Like,
So I'm guessing the original script probably had lorries, and the actors learnt the word lorry, and they weren't being paid enough to adapt what they'd learned
I'm not changing it
to the
now.
mechanics. Yeah, if you want me to put a body on a train, I'll put it on a train, but I'm calling it a lorry.
You ain't paid me enough.
That's in the script. Yeah, you'll have to talk to my shop steward.
Yeah. Right, everybody out.
Packer.
Yes, Mr. Vaughan.
Don't be so wet, Packer.
Sorry, boss, it just went off in my hand.
Feisty and full of... Anyway.
I thought the idea of having the extra little micro circuit inside the IE products that would do the old mind control was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Which, of course, was borrowed again later when they brought back International Electromatics in the new series.
Yeah.
With a slight update to Bluetooth and what have you.
I think, yeah. It's, I remember that when... It's Age of Steel, isn't it? The thing. I think Roger Lloyd Pack in that is great. Even though the story's terrible. I think he's great. And I always thought that he is a sort of Vaughan.
Yeah.
Yesteryear. But
Vaughan Light.
Yeah, not yesteryear. Yesteryear now, but not then. But
oh, it's very wibbly wobbly.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah.
I was going to watch an old episode of Only Fools and Horses today, but there was a trigger warning.
Oh, good God.
Right, I'm just gonna dig out the tumbleweed sound effect there.
Oh dear.
I daren't look up at the screen now. I'm so ashamed.
You know what you've done?
Yeah.
Now you have to live with the consequences.
I'm sorry. I've in fairness, I've been out for lunch with the in-laws. I'm full of palak paneer, and I don't really know what's going on.
Oh dear.
I'm high on spinach and cheese.
Good
God.
Lord.
You won't sleep tonight.
Harold.
Yes, Mark.
Harold, you're a music man.
Yes, I am.
As this is a Dougie Camfield show, obviously we don't have
Dudders.
Deadly Dudley because they had a bit of a falling out.
They do. Does anybody know why they fell out?
I mean, I've heard a story doing the rounds, but I don't know if it's accurate or not. But I got the impression that
it was shit.
There was just some sort of disagreement over, I think, one or the other. I think Deadly Dudley felt like he had been shunned by Dougie because he invited some friends out to dinner and he didn't get the invite. And I think they had a bit of a falling out or something along those lines.
So the story I heard was that Camfield asked him where he lived, and Dudley said, "Well, I live here for the sake of argument in Hampstead." And Camfield was like, "There's no way you could afford to live there on a BBC musician's income." And there was this distrust that blossomed into a great and abiding enmity.
It crescendoed, you may say.
Well, I wouldn't know. I'm not musical.
Just say
if you know the real reason why these two fell out, please get in touch. And we'll be listing all the ways over our end credits.
There you go. Maybe.
So, yeah, what did you think of the music in this one?
I think it's great. I will even forgive the weird unit jaunty theme.
It's a bit bonkers, isn't it?
It's a bit happy, isn't it, really?
It starts off very sort of Ipcrest filey, doesn't it? And then
I will say, for that part, can we set the record straight now and ban anybody from saying the guitar thing? Because
it's a zither, isn't it?
It's a dulcimer.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It is a hammered dulcimer. So if anybody now on, from the release date of this episode, says, "Oh, I like the 60s guitar sort of spy music," it's a hammered dulcimer, everybody. A hammered dulcimer.
Okay. All right. Well.
Yeah. Sorry about that. It just sort of don't know what came over me then. and full of yeah.
Well, that's the episode title sorted anyway.
Yeah, I think it's
Hammered
great. It
Dulcimer.
works really well. I think
Yeah.
the spy guitar stuff really works. It
Yeah.
really works. It's sort
Very
of
atmospheric.
yeah, it's very different to what you'd expect from Who as well.
Yeah.
I think
I don't know if you still class it within the music, but the sound as the Cybermen are marching down the steps, that kind of
throb.
weird electronic. Yeah. That's pretty cool as well.
sorry, I just yeah, it's all that talk of spunk. Yeah, the cyber throb is great. So it's the picture of the Cyberman behind Ian's shoulder.
Yes, it's yeah.
That Cyberman's got a smile.
He does look happy, doesn't he?
He's called
Just
Roger the
thinking-
Cyberman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that, John Barrowman? Where do you sign up? I'll talk to you later.
I'll ring you back, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, what does everybody else think of said music? Not in general.
I really like it.
Just in this story.
I could live without
I really like
K-pop.
it,
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it adds to that huge sense of this is something very different to what's come before. Because it is kind of, a little bit more 60s and upbeat and kind of
Yeah.
dramatic and it built on the themes of this is a very new direction, I think. What do I know? Why am I asking you?
Why am I here?
Packer?
Back up.
I reckon, so that's my theory of how they met, is that Vaughan was in a supermarket and there was this really wet, useless guy who was employed to put all the groceries in a bag once the transaction
packer.
had occurred, and so he just goes, Packer, yeah, and that's how that's my theory.
I think that's
It may not be
His real name is Derrick.
Big Barry.
Derrick Henchman. Who read the Target book?
I did not.
No.
I've got it.
No, I
we
didn't.
did. Oh, yeah. I have got it, but I haven't read it.
I do believe that Ian Marter put in a nice little in-joke for the readers.
Oh.
Yeah, when is it Jimmy that goes off to Russia to sort out the
Yeah, in like an
the
hour.
rocket that's going to destroy it? Yeah.
2 hours.
2 hours to Russia.
Fly
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Russia. We'll come back to that.
Yes, apparently the airbase in the book is called Nicourtney.
Oh.
Get it? Nicourtney.
Nice.
There's another rib gone.
Oh, yeah, there
Oh,
you go.
twang. Yeah.
Clang.
Yeah,
Is it any good?
Well, so I read it. It was one of those ones. I didn't own it either. But
okay.
I got it out of the library. I would have been 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that.
All of those years.
All of those years I read it.
Oh, it took a long
Every
time to read it, didn't it? Jeez.
Every April the
It
9th,
was
I
a
would
hell of a
read
read.
The Invasion.
I mean, I'm a slow reader, but it wouldn't take me that long.
Well, and I knew it was important because it had the unit logo on the
Yeah.
cover, and I think it probably said on the back, the first unit story. Whoa! And it was very enjoyable at the time, but it
I think
wasn't.
they put a couple of cutscenes back in again, don't they?
Oh, do they?
I think there was a scene where
Oh.
there's an attack on a unit vehicle, which gets referenced in dialogue in the show, but doesn't, because they ran out of budget, they couldn't realise it on screen. Whereas that gets put back into the book, I believe.
I should check it. I should go back to it in case the lorries were lorries, not vans or trains,
If you could,
because that
and
might.
just let me know.
Yeah, I will do that.
Thank
I
you.
will do
Thank
that.
you.
But it was one of the good ones, as I recall. So it was a story I've been aware of, like a lot of them, since I was a wee nipper. But this was my first time actually seeing it in all of its black and white glory.
You'd never seen it before?
I'd never seen it before.
Guardian.
Yeah,
I know.
I've had a busy life.
I've had a life.
Yes, obviously. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I got better things to do than watch.
Well, that's not true anymore, but certainly
No,
for the all the years preceding this.
And the next,
Back
and
when
the
you
next
were
35 years of your life watching.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about that, but we'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll do that
There's
off
going to have to be
greatest
some
show
sort of
for the
legacy.
What a load of old
Is
shit!
it custard for tea?
Who's pissed in my trousers?
I don't want to go to bed.
I don't know who I am or where I live.
Who are you? What are you doing in my room? I remember I had the I still got it actually, the Cyberman audiobook tin thing.
Oh,
it had the invasion with Fraser Hines narrating it.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good.
Ooh,
and
lovely. And the 10th Planet as well.
Yeah,
isn't it?
and the Origins of the Cybermen. With,
yes, David Banks.
Excellent.
Yes.
Jinx. But the pathetic. It's very good. I think that's the first experience I had properly of the invasion. I would have probably had the video at the same time, but it probably, because there wasn't instantly a Cyberman shooting, I probably didn't watch it. Sort of.
I didn't see it until the DVD came out.
Oh.
I'm a bad fan.
Well, so this is my point. Is this one of the kind of the classic Doctor Who stories that we should all have, in our own way, made a real effort to watch as soon as we could have done, or not? I mean, first unit story, iconic Cyberman invasion of Earth. Tobias Vaughan's in it. It's quite long. Template for Series 7. I mean, it feels like a very, very important story, and that's all in like big letters and underlined.
And highlighted.
Sure.
And it's directed by Dougie Camfield, and you can't just underplay how much of a difference it makes when he is telling the camera people what to do, because he just makes the show look so good.
Yeah. I think it is. It's probably a little bit underrated. It's probably more well regarded now than it was a few years ago. I think the animation has probably helped with that. But I think probably all the missing stories suffer that with that issue, really. I think things like the Faceless ones would be really well regarded if that existed. And probably Fury from the Deep as well. I think if that existed, I think a lot of people would sort of go, oh yeah, it's great,
I think even the Savages would be reappraised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think all of the missing stories, I think if they existed, so I'm talking with my hands, I think they would, benefit greatly from existing. I know it sounds stupid to say, but because they sort of do exist with audio, but it does help having the full thing. But I think it is a classic. It's probably, if not my number one Troughton, definitely number 2.
Oh.
Yes.
High praise indeed. So, one bit that confused me, and maybe I'm just, getting old and tired and not really paying attention. At the start, the TARDIS reassembles itself because we've just come out of the end of the Mind Robber.
Yep.
And they make the emergency landing and they all step out.
Yep.
And Zoe's wearing a totally different outfit from the one that she had on in that previous story. And then about halfway through this story, she's back in the spangly catsuit again.
Yes.
Did I miss something there?
I think she's supposed to be in the spangly catsuit, isn't she? In the beginning. I think the animator, I think it's an animation mistake. I think she is.
But I'm sure it's in the surviving episodes as well.
Well, she changes when she goes to Isabel's, doesn't she? Or Isabel makes her change into a swinging.
Well, she has the feather boa, doesn't she?
Not a swingers.
And then a bit.
It's swinging 60s garb. But yeah, because she changes back into the spangly catsuit.
Yeah,
doesn't she,
it's all very strange.
So I'm very interested that was the thing you bumped on, because, as you say, the TARDIS reforms due to magic reasons.
Yeah.
Lands by the moon, gets shot at by the Cybermen, lands and becomes invisible. If you can make it go invisible, do it
Yeah.
before someone's going to fire a bloody great missile at you.
Was that because of the malfunction?
I was going to
though?
say, is
Oh, it's because of malfunction.
you nitpicking little Yeah, that is why that's what they get fixed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the first
Iain?
person you're going to give those 2 circuit boards to, if you're a time-travelling alien from the future who doesn't at any cost want to damage the web of time, is give them to the Steve Jobs of the 1960s.
Yeah.
Well.
Could you fix these?
Yeah.
Yes. Where do they come from? Oh, I can't tell you.
Argos.
Yeah. Yes. The whole story's been a catalogue of disaster.
Oh.
Argos.
May I present my new invention? I call it the blueberry pie. It will revolutionize computing. And then they've got that weird machine that's. I mean, initially I'm thinking this isn't going to work because he gets Professor Kettlewell. I'm going to keep calling him that to design the machine that makes the Cybermen feel emotions, and they're testing it out. And he's got to have that whole kind of rigmarole of attaching it to the Cyberman. He's not going to stop and let you put that on his ear handles.
That is one of my favourite scenes in all of it. Because honestly, you will not believe how many times a week me and Luke quote that. Revive him, Becca, just enough to bring it out of its cocoon. Just constantly. All the time I quote that. I don't know why.
Okay.
It's just great. It's just the way he says it with a little smile. Just enough to bring it out of its cocoon.
Not enough to make it do a little dance, but just enough to bring it out of its
enough.
cocoon.
I mean, I've not made any secret of my adoration of Kevin Stoney. I think he's fantastic
great.
in everything he's in. Even Revenge of the Cybermen, he's good in that as well. Well, how do you rate him? Do you think he's one of the better villains?
I think he could be the best human villain.
Yeah.
Because he's not quite. He would have been a great master, actually.
Yeah.
Because he's got that
I agree with that.
He's got that Delgado thing of sort of being nice but also evil. Whereas now, like, the masters are just mad. Like, and I think I always think a villain is much better when they're sort of polite. Like, that's what I always loved with the Delgado
underplaying it,
thing of sort of how lovely he is with Joe. You know, calls her Miss Grant and then, slices her neck. But but he's just great.
Yeah.
He's so great. And everything
Ian's
he
still
says...
holding a candle for Milton Johns, so, I'm not expecting anything more from
No,
from him on that.
you can see both my hands. I'm not holding anything. I think, because, like, there's a difference between, like, a villain and just, a maniac. And he is, he's got a very definite agenda. And when that doesn't pan out, he's not all sweetness and light. It's Kevin Stoney. But he's, very keen to help the Doctor defeat the Cybermen invaders. So he's evil. He's very smug, but he's not... You don't hate him. You don't want to smack him in the face. It's a very good performance, certainly for Doctor Who. So I'm gonna back up Harry there.
Oh,
he's one of the best.
Yeah, I'll get behind the Cyberman and you
I'll revive you, but just enough to bring you out of your cocoon.
Out of your cocoon, yes. I have to say though, did you notice when he gets killed off that his body is just swinging in the background? It's
horrible.
Troughton's legging it down the road. Jesus.
So he's been cyberized.
He has, yeah.
When?
Yeah.
How? Like, is it?
This is prior to the story starting.
Are we to assume that it's because there's all of these UFOs and they sort of?
Yeah, hasn't he said he's been planning it for years?
Oh, yeah, he does actually.
Yeah,
he does so.
helping them and yeah.
So he's like fully silver under the tunic and those rather nice white collarless shirts. And he must incidentally have 2 or 3 of those shirts in his office, because one minute he's shot full of holes.
I know, yeah.
And the next time you see him, it's a new shirt, so he must have like a wardrobe
Apparently-
with 5 of them.
Just leave the room for a minute, Bagger. Just
No, stay here.
Stay,
Turn round,
stay and
Bagger.
watch.
Look at my silvery torso, Bagger. Do you want one?
Feel it, Bagger. Feel it.
I'm assuming he's got a whole bunch of these shirts because they're the only ones that will fit him now because he's got a sodding great chest unit like
Exactly. Yeah.
poor old Bill in
Like
World
an-
Enough in Time.
Like an accordion stuck on his tumpkin.
Yeah. Still, always good to break out the Captain Pugwash theme
Well, exactly.
at parties.
Bagger,
Yeah.
listen to this. It's great, Mr. Vaughan. Do you want to hear it again, Bagger?
It's fab and groovy. It's definitely not a guitar. That's a hammered dulcimer, that is.
No, Bagger. It's a hammered dulcimer.
Don't ever call it a guitar again. Anything else we want to get off our chest units before we rate it?
It's just great. There we go. I've said it. It's great. It's great. It's so great that I spent a fortune and bought an invasion head. So
You
I
did, yeah.
It is.
Harry, for anyone who
It is
doesn't know,
there.
has the cyber helmet from the
I
Invasion.
do. Yes.
It's screen accurate and
It
everything.
is screen accurate and everything. It's.
We haven't really talked about this, but it's the first time you see the Cybermen, and as an 80s kid, it's like, oh yeah, that's clearly what I would know as a Cyberman. So they've evolved again, but this time
Yeah.
quite a quantum leap.
This is my favourite design as well. I would say. Well, I will say. I've said it.
You just
I
did.
did.
I heard you clearly.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Just checking. Can you hear me? Is this on? Yeah.
Is that a hammered dulcimer?
No.
Do that again.
It's a 60s Swish guitar. That's where you're wrong.
Hacker.
Bagger. Yeah, I think this is my this is my favourite design of Cyberman. They're great. It's the one shame I think in this story is that they don't really say anything or do anything. They're pawns.
No.
They get one line, don't they?
Yeah.
That's about it.
And then you're what?
That's yes. That's
Pardon?
Yeah.
I would on the subject of design, I would say the one maybe weak link in the design chain is when they fall over and wave their legs in the air. They've got these little sort of like thongs covering up their...
I did feel a bit sorry for the in brackets mad Cyberman when the other two get shot and he's still got to carry on walking. He nearly trips over and breaks his neck trying to
Oh fuck!
straddle the bodies. Yeah.
You think he's mad? Wait till he's banged his head in that. Yeah.
He's gonna be livid.
Do you know? I will say as well. Somebody will probably know this. When I bought that Cyberman head, the first thing you do is you put it on, right?
Yep.
You bolt yourself into it. I tell you what, they have my sympathies because inside there it is, excuse my French, it is fucking loud. It's just an echo chamber. Like if you cough,
I think
your
it would
ears
just be the
bleed.
claustrophobia that would kill me.
It's horrible.
Yeah, the thought of being locked in there.
I banged my head on like the door frame whilst I had the helmet on, and honestly, it was like Krakatoa had gone off. Like it was so loud. It's horrible. Just like watching that. Yeah.
See, I'd never considered that, but that makes every Cyberman performance ever so much better than I'd previously given them credit for.
Well, there you go.
When you put it on, how do you smoke? Can you get it through the?
What I did, I dremeled the mouthpiece just slightly,
Nice.
just slightly wider.
Chamfered it.
Nice.
Yeah. And if anything, just put a slight little sort of indent in there, so it just sort of sits.
Yeah. Little
Nice.
teardrop motif.
Nice.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you keep
Yeah.
it in theme,
Yeah.
but it's still
Yeah.
practical. You
Excellent.
just got to watch that it
fully
doesn't.
practical.
Yeah, you just got to watch it doesn't sort of burn the edge. But one
Yeah,
quick
no.
draw towards the butt, and it'll. We saw that out.
Sorry, John. 5 minutes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Get back in your box.
You could be a Cyberman, couldn't you, Harry? Because you're quite a tall gentleman.
Yeah, I mean, I'd give it a go if they need a fat man.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
If-
Ian
if
and
they're-
I would probably
if they're
have to be
remaking Attack of
Sontarans
the
or something,
Cybermen.
wouldn't
yeah,
we?
exactly.
Yeah.
I could be the fat controller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're right, Mark. We'd be Sontarans, I suppose.
Yeah, not the tallest.
No.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to be a Cyberman. And why do everybody says Cyberman and sewer? It's great.
Yes.
It's great.
Sewer.
Only Brian Sewell says sewer.
Oh, it's great.
Exactly.
I love it.
He's down in the seaweed.
Seaweed.
Sewer. Yes.
I like
very,
the
very
He's
posh.
traipsing through shite.
I like that the sort of the normal Cybermen all need helping down the ladder. I love that.
Yeah.
They're all like, "Oh, we
Yeah.
okay? Like, watch your foot on
Yeah.
that one. Step.
Don't bang your head, Ron. It'll sound like Krakatoa in there.
Fucking hell."
Oh.
God.
So, my all-time favourite line in Doctor Who, and I can't remember this exactly, but maybe Harry will
Okay.
be able to quote it exactly. But right at the top of episode 5, where the Doctor says, basically, "Oh no, it's the Cybermen. Jamie, let's go back to the canoe." Brilliant. I love that.
Nice.
That's literally all I've got.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you said it. What's your favourite line, Mark?
I did notice when they were checking the radar screen that they made the comment about there's something massive on the screen. I was waiting for one of them to turn around and go, "Oh yes, it is a big one, isn't it?" But no, we didn't get that.
I also like.
They missed the
I like
chance
at the
there.
end when Zoe's doing the calculations for the bomb, and one of the soldiers clearly.
Yes, I noticed that.
Clearly,
It's-
as
yeah,
a
so
quick
she's going
look.
from table to table, and he doesn't even make it subtle. He just literally looks straight down at her backside, and like, come on, Jesus.
But is that not an acting choice? He's playing that
you
sort
see.
of, rough-hewn military, squaddy kind of guy. They're all a bit. They'd absolutely look at someone's arse. So you could argue that was deliberate.
Captain Yates would never have done that.
Never.
No, he wouldn't.
Never.
He
Be
wouldn't.
Benton's.
No idea why.
Oh, Corporal Benton, I've dropped my pen.
I don't know why, but that's made my dog go crazy.
You should see what it does to Benton.
Well, yes.
Well, I feel it's time we wrap this one up and give it a score. And I shall come to Harold first. Harry, what would you like to give this story out of 10?
I've been thinking about this for an hour, and I think I'm gonna have to go with a 10.
That's fine. Yes.
I just think it's great. I never
Yeah.
really tire of watching it either. I can enjoy it in many a medium. As an audiobook, I think it's great. Watching the story is great. The animation is great, and it's probably one of the better animations as well, I'd say. And there's not too much of it.
Go with you on that.
But yeah, I'd go 10 out of 10 for this one. I think it's classic 60s Who.
Excellent. Well,
Did you go a bit Jagger at the end?
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
It's classic 60s Who.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but it's just great, isn't it?
Well, all right.
maybe I'm just very easily swayed. I'm going to give it a 10 as well.
You're a good man, Mark. Bagger.
Yeah, I think it's thoroughly enjoyable. It's a long old story, but there's quality there to sustain it. I think it's a great cast overall, with one or two exceptions. Kevin Stoney's just a flipping legend, and new look Cybermen, very exciting, and just a different direction and a new exciting way of telling a Doctor Who story. So I'm going to give it a 10.
The correct choice. Now Ian.
So
no pressure. But,
So I was going to dock a mark for this whole flying to Russia in 2 hours nonsense. It's also interesting that Jamie isn't. I don't feel like he's in the last episode, apart from right at the end where they go back to the field.
Yeah.
So he didn't annoy me. So he was wonderful. The Brigadier was wonderful. The villain was wonderful. The monsters were wonderful.
Isabel was wonderful.
Yes.
Isabel was wonderful. Troughton,
Isabel necessary on a bike?
Do you want to think about it? Yeah, Troughton was titting about a bit. I don't need to see him running along and doing flying kicks in the air in a comedy way when he's being shot at. The fool. But if I give this any less than a 10, I will lose the friendship of Harry, and that would break my heart.
Never.
So I'll go.
No.
Can I go 9 then?
Oh no. Oh yeah. All right then.
All right, it's 9.
Right, you can never be friends anymore now.
Right, that's it. Becca.
No more.
Oh, but sir, really, sir. Sort of Packer as Igor then.
Well, that's what we had to say about the invasion. Let's hear what you have to say in some listener feedback.
I've got mail.
Yeah. Right, Harry, I think you and I should both read these out in the style of Jagger. What do you say?
Oh my God.
absolutely wonderful.
I'll be Keith.
Okay.
It's like shit, and this Cyberman comes around the corner and he's doing an F, and I can't get my fingers around it. Shit, you know?
It's a Hammered Dulcimer, I think you'll find. That's not a guitar key.
I've been playing the fucking thing wrong all these years, man. And that was
got
Philip
hammered with
Edney.
a dulcimer once.
Right in the dulcimers.
Oh,
Now I'm going to start off with David Moss, who has contacted us through Mastodon. And David says, much to give thanks to Camfield in this story. In addition to the fab directing, we also owe him thanks for bringing Courtney back as Lethbridge Stewart, and something different with the incidental music. Don Harper's score was perfect for Cybermen lurking in the sewers under London, and it contrasts nicely with John Baker's radiophonic Muzak in Vaughan's office. The script too is snappier and more contemporary thanks to Dix's now script editing. Best Cyberman story of the 1960s, 9 out of 10. Thank you, David. And we've also heard from another David from the Metabilis 2 podcast. Great show if you haven't heard it. And David says, The Invasion was my son's favourite story on VHS when he was 10, and when the narrated CD soundtrack was released, he listened to it on a loop. Even as a boy, my son knew this story was something special. But it wasn't until the DVD with animation came out that I saw what he was seeing. A ripping adventure with the Doctor and friends versus cartoon villains, and not an overly long, nonsensical Cyberman plot. Evidently, Invasion is best watched through the eyes of a 10-year-old.
don't.
Oh, God.
Packer.
Becca, bring me the eyes of a 10-year-old.
You two, I don't know if I should have you both on again. Yeah. Oh, God, it's going to take ages to edit this. Okay. Next up, we've heard from Anthony Carroll. Hello, Anthony. Anthony says, love it. Great music, great villain in Tobias Vaughan and The Brig. 8 out of 10. I'm just going to carry on. Otherwise, I'll be here all night.
I'll just mute my mic.
Packer.
Right, you finished now. I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
Right, I'm okay now.
Okay, alright, we sure?
I'll just mute my mic. You carry on.
Yes, okay, you do that. Next up, we've heard from Rob from the Doctor Who show. A fantastic story. Prototype Pertwee in so many ways. Imagine another season of Pet in colour with this sort of thing going on. Wouldn't that have been fun? That said, it's the relatively rare black and white footage of contemporary London in Doctor Who that gives it its look. Thank you, Rob.
The South African podcast, that is.
Yeah, apologies to, everyone.
I love me some Doctor Who.
But the great thing is you can fly there in 2 hours. So.
You can, yeah. We have another Australian contributor. I won't do this to Luke because that would just be very disrespectful. LSJ, Luke, who I did a podcast with the other night for Joe Ford. And he says, the invasion is iconic Doctor Who. Kevin Stoney is in the conversation for best Doctor Who villain ever, twice. He's right. Next along we have Mr. Richard Smith from Something Who. And Richard says, I must confess to having been slightly disappointed the first time I saw The Invasion. Perhaps because I'd already been a fan for about 30 years and this was a legendary story. But there's a lot to like about it, especially Vaughan and Packer.
Bring me the eyes.
He continues. My disappointment comes from the Cybermen acting as little more than foot soldiers. They're briefly impressive at St. Paul's, but they don't seem very clever on this outing. Unit's great, as are the regular TARDIS crew, so perhaps I need to love it for what it is. Thank you, Richard. Next up, we've heard from Jonathan, and he says, a great Bond villain, a groovy gear, a contemporary setting, yeah, baby, yeah. So the Cybermen in the sewers is a good idea, but not necessarily well executed. But it's a fun romp overall. It's a bit long, though, so could do with losing 2 episodes. That's just as well, then. Oh, behave. Oh, behave. That's my best attempt. And lastly from me, we have heard from Dan Pinn. Dan says, The Invasion is one of my favourite Second Doctor stories. Love this TARDIS team too. Unit actually feel a proper secret organisation with resources beyond the Brigadier, a Captain and a Sergeant. How cool is the Unit HQ being a Hercules aircraft? Great to have the Brig back too. Tobias Vaughan feels like the best Bond villain we never had. All he needs is a fluffy cat to stroke. He forms a great
pussy.
He forms a great double act with Packer. Harper's score is fantastic and helps create the Ipcrest file espionage tone across this story. And the St. Paul's scenes are iconic. Yeah, not wrong, Dan. Well, that's it for my contributors. Next up, we are going to hear from the legend that is Andy Moore.
Inside the mind of Tobias Vaughan.
What shall I have for tea tonight? I don't know. I shall have fish and chips. I'll send Packer for some fish and chips. Is it fish and chips, or is it fish and chips? No, I'll have a battered sausage. Why do I keep Packer around? Packer's useless. He's got quite a nice... When I have complete control over the Cybermen, I shall spray paint them all black, and I shall rename them... What shall I rename? I shall rename them X-Men. Yes, X-Men. How long is it till my next meeting? Have I got enough time for a crafty wank?
Well, what did we make of that, gentlemen?
I think.
Well, thanks for that insight.
I mean, cut all the silence out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what he gets up to in that office most of the time.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I think you could be right there.
That's why he's got so many of those shirts in case one gets sullied.
with
Yes,
spunk.
moving on very, very quickly.
Packer.
Iain,
Hello.
who have you heard from?
So I have heard from. Well, let's start with Philip Edney.
G'day, Philip.
I'm just trying to work out what order these go in because the instructions you sent were absolutely incomprehensible. So right, yeah. So that's the first one. So he says, if not the best Cybermen story ever, I think it is my favourite. So sad that episodes 1 and 4 are missing. The length. Oh no. The length allows for a very Harry. The length allows for a very slow build.
Oh, it's so hot.
The length allows for a very slow build in tension, and it takes so many episodes. I was fine, and I can hear laughing, and now I've... Oh, God. Just seriously, both of you, childish.
Oh, yeah, it's so annoying, isn't it, when you're trying to read it out and everyone else is laughing?
Some 12-year-old sniggering.
Yeah. How
The
unprofessional.
length allows, the number of times I keep having to... This is like an episode of My Dad Wrote a Porno. The number of times I have to keep going back to this sentence. The length allows for a very slow build in tension, and it takes so many episodes before you even realise the Cybermen are the threat. Patrick, Fraser and Wendy are so good together. The perfect second Doctor team. And throw in the Brigadier and we can see where Doctor Who was heading for in the 1970s. Kevin Stoney returns as a great foil for the Doctor, and although not quite as camp as Mavic Chen, he comes close. The Watkinses are a great addition. A shame we lost the chance to see the Travers family again. Exciting adventure, great battles, lots of fun and suspense. One of the best. Now, obviously, Phil, I'm sorry there was a certain degree of childish bumfoolery from these two during my reading of that, but I fully agree with all your points, although I'm not sure how essential it would have been to have seen the Travers again in a story that didn't involve the Great Intelligence, but that's just me. We've also heard from Simon Moore, who says, such a great story and polished production. It evolves and develops beautifully.
Christ, Ian, come on, keep it together. What's wrong with you?
It's like being back at school, I tell you, this 5 years of my life.
The big boy made me do it.
Big boy.
Harry. You're a bad influence. We don't get this sort of behaviour when you're not on, Harry. That's all
I was
going to
say. Honestly, I imagine it's very
Yeah.
professional when I'm not
Very
here.
It
professional,
is
very
always,
slick.
always very,
Yeah.
very, yeah.
Feisty and full of spunk. Such a great story and polished production. It evolves and develops beautifully to properly utilise all 8 episodes without dragging. Kevin Stoney chews the scenery in some moments, but underplays others to create one of Doctor Who's best villains. I think we're in agreement there. He continues, such a shame 1 and 4 are missing, as it would have been a great addition to repeat runs back in the day, as it looks so good and ahead of its time, production-wise. Certainly a preview of what's to come.
Sorry, that's my Foley tape.
Pardon?
Pardon me, that's the Palak Paneer repeating on me. Now, Anthony Carroll says something in such a small font that I'm just going to have to put my phone on its side. Perhaps my favourite Cybermen story. It almost feels like a mini-series in its own right, where we enter the world of UNIT, glimpse a big tech company, impacting in a way we still discuss today, and an antagonist truly up there as one of the greatest, most realistic villains the show has had, with Tobias Vaughan. I wonder if anyone has edited the Packer scream to a freeze frame and say the Seinfeld bass sting So I can't read this. What? The Seinfeld bass sting starting Vaughn and Packer would have made perfect sitcom material. Yep.
Sorry. It was an open goal.
Dear Mr. Castellan and cheeky Chesterton hater. I think that's us. I think we've been made. Yeah. I don't need the Underwater Menace animation to match the telesnaps, but I'm really missing that glittery catsuit from The Invasion episode 1. So I think we know what point he's making there. It did feel.
Who's that from?
That was from Pete Fagan.
Hi, Pete.
It was a bit jarring. I think in episode 4, she just suddenly was wearing the spangly number again, and I'm a fan of that costume.
I mean, I like it.
Yeah, lovely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, lovely. But yeah, it was unexpected. You're right, Harry.
Sorry.
He's having a little giggle there. Very disappointing.
The giggle.
26 Glorious Years said, currently revisiting this absolute gem in the Grand Rewatch. I love the extensive location work in contemporary, 1968 anyway, London. The wonderful character touches. Camfield's pacing and the superbly staged set pieces. And of course, it has the following glorious moment, superb. And then he's got a little sort of picture sequence montage of the Brigadier and the Doctor having a little chat. How nice to see you again, Doctor. It's Colonel Lethbridge Stewart. Brigadier now. I've gone up in the world. And then Jamie says, of course, the Yeti.
A classic.
Fine stuff. Yes, you're all right. You agreed with everything we've said. So you're all good and you get a gold star.
Yes.
So well done.
A mathematical genius.
And Adric's rusty sheriff's badge.
Is that a 60s guitar?
Yeah, it's a 60s guitar.
Yeah. Harry, who have you heard from?
Who have I not heard from? That's the question mark.
Okay.
First up, I think. Let me just put this in the other room to be able to read the font. First, I've heard from Paul Quinn with a double N. That's at Paul_L_Quinn, double N. He says on October the 4th, with 1 like and 1 retweet, best Cyberman story until World Enough and Time. One of the best stories of the 1960s. That's had 76 views at the time of the screenshot. Next is Mark with a C from Prog to Who. I'm saying that because it's in capitals.
Hello, Mark.
Hello, Mark. Mark has this to say. My favourite Troughton story. I love everything about it. The template for season 7. And just a cracking story. Baga. Brill. And then a smiley face with some sunglasses. That's got 3 likes. Next, I've heard from Tim-Missing Episodes podcast from at Doctor Who Podcasters. This is also on October the 4th. He says, it's the sort of story I wish I'd booked to review. Well, unfortunately, Tim, they asked me.
Yep. He actually did ask me if he could do...
That wasn't a dig.
The Dominators. No, he actually asked me if he could do the Dominators, so I said, yes, please do.
I like the Dominators.
Oh, you're the one?
Yeah.
Or you and Fraser Gregory, yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
Next up, we've heard of No, we haven't. We've heard from Phil Cannon of this parish. From
I've heard of Phil Cannon.
Yes, from Who's He
He's
podcast.
a very good podcaster, yeah, that's
He's
right.
a proper bloke.
He is.
He says this.
He's a geezer.
My favourite side... No, it's not. That's not what he says.
My name is Michael Caine.
My favourite Troughton story. A great 60s spy vibe in the opening episode. The world's most inept henchman in Packer, but Tobias Vaughan is possibly the best villain Doctor Who ever had. Also the Brig, unit, and not revealing the Cybermen until later episodes was a stroke of genius. That's what Phil had to say.
We might have to get you back for the Invasion of Time if you can do that voice.
Next up is DJ Alpha-T #vote yes. Obviously a prog rock fan. Currently on tour, not affiliated. Part 1. It's the ultimate 60s story. The essence of mod, psychedelic and noir, rolled into a possibly overlong thriller. The Brig is played wonderfully. Benton is yes, he is. Benton is introduced in scenes reminiscent of the
Ipcress file.
Thank you. I'll never be able to say that. That one. And Zoe gets to let her hair down and have fun with Isabel. Ooh. Okay. And part 2. Troughton is superb in that scene as well. Troughton is superb and absolutely in his element, squaring off against the suave, malevolent, and ever so camp Tobias Baker Vaughan. It looks fantastic thanks to Douglas Camfield. The animated missing episodes are superbly recreated by Cosgrove Hall. I love it, says DJ Alpha-T. And I've also heard from George Cairns at George the Fourth. Like a king. I have a soft spot. Oh, dear. For the Invasion. As it provides me with some of my earliest memories, brackets age 4. I remember a policeman being killed by a Cyberman in the sewers. For a minute then, I thought that was a real-life story rather than the comment. At age 4.
And then I went home to watch Doctor
Who. Right outside my house. I remember a policeman being killed by a Cyberman in the sewer. It helped form a lifelong love of Doctor Who. Things like that stick in the memory, you see. It's a dangerous world out there, everyone. Next, you've heard from Michael of Saturday Morning Press at NP Seeley. You can Google it. Douglas Camfield changed from... No, he didn't. Yes, he did. Douglas Camfield changed from BBC staff director to freelancer during the making of this story. I thirsted to what... Altogether now. I thirsted to watch this for years. Those publicity photos, then the Martyr book, and my love for industrial settings wasn't disappointed when I watched it in '88. It's beautifully paced, never feels too long, it's the right length, and doesn't make you fidget. Unlike a few other stories around this time do. Each episode builds on the last. Tobias Vaughan makes up for the lack of Cybermen. I'd marry it if I could. Strong words there. And finally, James Courtney sends a GIF from Earthshock of a Cyberman looking at a superimposed red TARDIS saying, "Excellent." And that is...
And it is.
That is it.
Thank you all very much for getting in touch. And if you want to give us your thoughts on a forthcoming story... All the ways and means are listed over our end credits. So before we say goodbye to Harry, we're going to have some recommendations.
Ooh, lovely.
That's good. That saved us 10p on using that clip.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Great. Who's going first?
Well, I think we should have Harold first. Harry, what would you like to recommend?
I tell you what, I was going to recommend not this, but then I decided to recommend this. I've been listening to a lot of different things lately, music-wise, and I rekindled an old flame. Okay, you better be ready for this. So, this album meant a lot to me when I was growing up, and I hope it means a lot to you. This is... Here's a song that means a lot to me. I hope it means a lot to you. This is the album The Age of Plastic by the Buggles. This album
very nice.
is fantastic. It's fantastic. It's just great. You can ignore Video Killed the Radio Star if you like, but it's great.
I quite like that song.
It's a great song. It is a great song, but the whole album is just wonderful. It's just wonderful, and I highly recommend it to everybody. It is a desert island disc, you may say, or a desert planet pick if you prefer, Ian. I think it's great.
Wonderful. Ian, what would you like to recommend?
Well, I'd like to recommend the audiobook of Politics on the Edge by Rory Stewart, because, and obviously this won't, come out for quite a while, but at the time of recording, Spotify made a whole bunch of audiobooks available to listen to for free on Spotify.
That's good.
So I listened to the first half of Rory Stewart's memoir, where he talks about his kind of career in the military and then moving into politics and serving in the last 13 years of Conservative government, working with people like Liz Truss, David Cameron, Boris Johnson. It's full of his very candid thoughts and honest appraisals of them and their merits. But unfortunately, because I fell asleep with my earphones in, I got an email from Spotify the next morning that said I'd exceeded my monthly allowance and I couldn't hear any more audiobooks until next month.
Oh, no.
So, not sure what I'm paying them for then.
So it's a cliffhanger there, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to cancel my Spotify membership and go to a slightly more serious streaming company. Yeah. But the first half of the book was absolutely electrifying, if you like political memoirs.
How wonderful. Well, I am going to recommend a series that's just dropped on BBC iPlayer as we record this, so by the time this goes out, it will be long gone by then, but it's the final season of Ghosts, the BBC sitcom, and I would highly recommend it. I would imagine, I've not checked lately, but I would imagine all the other series are still on iPlayer if you're in the UK. If not, I would certainly advise you to pick up the whole shebang, because it's just brilliantly written, incredibly amusing, and it's also quite emotional in places as well. But yeah, it's a fantastic TV show, so I would urge you to check that out. So, that's it for another show. Harry, you got anything you want to give a little plug to before you disappear?
Not really. No. No. Well, I tell you what. We can do a little plug. So, anybody that follows me online, I wish I could help you out there and tell you where to find me online, but I don't know any of my handles. So, that will know that I did a gig
at Harry Music,
something like that. Just Google my name.
Yeah.
That I did a gig a couple of months ago. We sort of did an Asia gig in memory of John Wetton. And we raised money for Macmillan Caring Locally. So they're still accepting donations for that. And there's going to be an auction that's coming up soon where we all signed a guitar. So everybody that was there and performed on the night signed.
And there were some big stars there, weren't there?
Bill Bruford came out of retirement. Guy Pratt from Pink Floyd, Chris Difford from Squeeze, Rick Wakeman, Annie Haslam of Renaissance. Tons of people. Jeff Downes.
Steve Hackett,
of Genesis. So we all signed a guitar, and there's some posters that have been signed as well, and they're going to be auctioned off for charity to raise some money for
that sounds fantastic.
Macmillan Caring Locally. So if everybody keeps an eye on either John Wetton official legacy Facebook page or the website, or when that sort of goes live, it'll become available. But the live stream, I don't think is available anymore, so you can't pay to watch that.
Okay.
Yeah, the auction to raise money. So it's all to raise money for the hospice that cared for John Wetton in the last few weeks of his life, and to help build like a new suite, a John Wetton suite. It's all good stuff.
If I can find a link, I will put that in the show notes. I think it's a very worthwhile cause.
It is.
Thank you, Harry. It's been lovely having you on again. We do have a laugh.
I do apologise. I mean, we could have knocked, 40 minutes off this?
but where would the fun be in that?
Exactly. But thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Back out.
So until next time, it's goodbye from me.
You
It's
want
like
me to go
Strangers in
next?
Space.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Once you lose your confidence, it's gone, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Even
no.
if you're in a completely different environment.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
you're gone. I'm just a nervous wreck now.
No, yeah, well.
I'm Iain. See, there's no conviction
No,
behind that.
No, I wasn't asking you to say I'm
Wrong
Iain.
way.
No. I was saying it's goodbye from me.
Yeah. See ya.
Goodbye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Ta-ra.
Arrivederci.
Okay.
TTFN.
Go away now. Stop it.
Stop looking at me. What do you people want?
If you'd like to get in touch, you can email us at mailbagofrassilon@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter @TimeEndSpacePod, and you can also find us on Facebook. If you want to leave some audio feedback, there is a link in the show notes. You can use your phone or your computer and leave up to 60 seconds of feedback, or if you're listening via the Anchor website, you can click on the message button and leave your audio. We'd love to hear from you. And thank you to Momo Tempo for providing our theme music.